In this video, I'll show you how to create a deployment package for Python program. Basically, I'll be creating a zip file with all the dependencies needed for a particular application. For Java, it can be a jar file. For .NET, Go, or Node.js, it has to be zip files. Let me show you the environment. Let me show you what I want to do here. I have created a database instance, RDS-DB instance. Name of the database instance is AWS Foundation Lambda Backend with MySQL Database Engine. This is the endpoint of the database instance, and currently I have only one database, AWS Foundation, and also I have created a table named employee. So let me log into the database. It is publicly accessible, so I can log in to the database from my machine. So I'm currently connected to the database RDS-DB instance which I've just created, and this is the database which have been created. And I have created only one table in the database, and the name of the table is employee. Let us go ahead and see the structure of the table. The table has only 3 rows: employee ID, first underscore name, and last underscore name. 3 columns, sorry. This video is not for DBMS. I just want to show you how to access AWS services using Lambda by creating deployment package. There's a specific reason that I have chosen to use MySQL. Let me show you the Python code which I'll be using to access this database and table. This is the program, and the name of the program is add_data_lambda.py. What this program is doing is it is getting some environment variables. If you see, database host, database port, database user, password, and the name of the database. And I'm passing some data using Lambda event object. So I'm passing employee ID, I'm passing the employee first name and the last name, and then I'm making connection to the database using the variables which have been passed from the environment, and then I'm executing the insert into statement so that the value which have been passed using the event object is inserted in the database table, and the name of the table is employee. This is the name of the table. If the execution is successful or if the insert is successful, I should get this message: this insert was successful with the employee ID and it was inserted in employee database. The program is very simple, but there's one thing here. There's an external dependency of library named PyMySQL. Because I'm using MySQL database, I need to have this module in my program. Now, if I edit this code inline, I'll not be able to get this module or library from AWS Lambda. There's a very basic Python program with a dependency on the module or library PyMySQL. So what I'll do now is I'll create a deployment package with this dependency, PyMySQL. The purpose of showing this program is to show you how to create a deployment package using external dependencies. You might want to create a program which has dependencies on Flask, let's say Matplotlib, PyMySQL, Redis cluster. So there are a lot of libraries and external modules available. And all program or the other, irrespective of whether the program is written in Python, Java, Node.js, all the programs need to have external dependencies so that using those libraries they can access some of the features. In this case, I'm using PyMySQL to access MySQL feature which has been created using AWS RDS. The deployment package would contain the program itself and its external dependencies. In this case, I have a Python program and the program has an external dependency on the package named PyMySQL. And in my local machine, this is where my program is residing. This is the directory of the program, and I have this add data lambda.py. This is the program which I was talking about. Now, how do you create the deployment package? So you have to go to the directory where you have your program. So in this case, this directory contains the program add data lambda.py. In case of Python, what I'll have to do is I'll have to install the external dependency using the pip command manager. I already have pip installed, but I have to install the external dependency in the same library as that of the program, wherever my program is residing. So my Python program is add_data_lambda.py and it is residing in this directory. And this program has this external dependency on PyMySQL. So I'll have to install this library PyMySQL in the highlighted directory because that's where my program resides. Let's try to see this and understand this diagrammatically. This is the directory where my program resides. This is the directory in my local machine where I have kept my program. And the name of the program is add-data-lambda.py. And the program has an external dependency on PyMySQL. You can have other dependencies also. But the thing is that when you create the deployment package should contain both the program and its dependent libraries also. So in this case, the deployment package should have add-data-lambda.py and PyMySQL as well. So what you have to do here is you have to cd to this directory. Basically, you have to go to that directory and run the zip command inside of the directory. You do not zip the directory itself. So what you do, you cd to this directory, and after you go inside of the directory, you type zip-r, name of the zip file, and /star. What it will do is it will create a zip file with the program and its all other dependent libraries. Once that is done, we have to upload the zip file in the Lambda function, and we'll have to take care of the handlers also. In this case, I am already inside of the directory, and I'll install the package which is needed for this program, and the package is PyMySQL. What I'm doing now is I'm installing the external dependency here. There's some error with the name. As we have space here, I have to mention this in double quotes. So now what it is doing, it is installing the package PyMySQL. Let us do an ls lhrt. Now if you see, I not only have add-data-lambda.py, I also have packages or libraries needed for PyMySQL. Now I'm inside of this directory itself. Now I'll have to run the zip command to zip all these files from this directory itself. So inside of this directory, run zip-r, name of the file. So this would be the name of the zip file, and then /*. It will create a zip file with all the dependent libraries and the program itself, and which has been created. Now we'll have to upload this program or this code in the Lambda function. Let us take a look at the code again. We have to pass some environment variables, and then we'll have to pass some event data, and then it'll make connection, and then it'll insert that data. I'll create one more function, and the name of the function would be add-data-lambda. The function has been created. I do not want any triggers for this function because I want to test it from here itself. Now here in the function code, we'll not edit the code in line anymore. We'll upload a .zip file. Now while uploading the .zip file, you'll have to take care of the handler. The first portion should be the name of the program. In our case, that is add-data-lambda.py. It has to be the name of the program without the extension .py. And then the handler should contain the name of the method or function which should be executed when Lambda starts this code. In our case, name of the function is add-data. So let me go ahead and name it properly. So this is very important because if you do not provide the handler properly, Lambda will not be able to find the entry point, and it will give you error saying that the module name not found. So let me go ahead and upload this file. Now this is the file, and I'll have to upload the zip file. Now I'll have to pass the environment variables. If you see the program, these are the variables which I need to pass: db host, db port, db user, db password, and database name. Now all these parameters can be found from the RDS console. We know the host name, this is the endpoint. That should be the endpoint which will pass, and the port is 3306. The database user would be root as of now. Password is abcd1234, which I had given. And the database would be AWS Foundation, which I have already seen. Now I might ask, how come you're passing the database user and password in plain text? But there's an option here, you can encrypt it as well. When these data will be passed to Lambda runtime environment or Lambda service, that will be encrypted. The execution time has been mentioned as 3 seconds. Let me reduce it to 1 second so that we get some error at the beginning, and I want you to show that error. Now before doing a test, I'll have to configure the test events, and here I'll have to pass the event data. I'll have to pass employee ID, first underscore name, and last underscore name. Here are the data I'm passing. The employee ID is 100, first name is Shomodeep, and last name is they. Now typically what we'll do is, when you execute this Lambda function, these values should come from the front end or from some other program using query parameters, URL strings, so on and so forth. But as we are testing the Lambda function from the console itself, we are passing the data from the console as well. Click on create and the test event has been created. Now I'll have to save this. The function has been saved. Now if you see, the same code is coming here in line and it is showing you all the packages on the left hand side. Let us go ahead and test this program to see whether we get any error or not. Click on test and it failed. It is saying task timed out after 1 second. And this is intentional. The reason is, if you remember, I had intentionally given the timeout as 1 second so that you understand that this is a very common problem. There's a very common error which you get. And if you are a newbie in Lambda, you might not be able to find out what this problem is. Of course, my program will take more than 1 second to connect to the database. And this is the error message which I'm getting right now. So it is saying that a task has timed out after 1 second. So definitely I'll have to increase the timeout. Let me give it something around 1 minute. That should do it. Click on save and test the program again. Now it should insert the data in my database. So if you see, the test was successful and the insert was successful. Employee ID 100 was inserted in the employee database. Before proceeding further, I want to tell you, which I forgot to mention in the beginning, this time I had created the Lambda function in the default VPC where my RDS database instance is. If you do not do it, if you do not mention a VPC, you'll get error. This is how you integrate Lambda function with other AWS services. Let us see whether the record was actually inserted in the database or not. So if you see, the record was inserted. Actually, I had executed the code twice. So I had inserted two rows with employee ID 100 and 200 respectively. So the Lambda function was able to insert data in an RDS MySQL database. That's all I wanted to show you in Lambda. Make sure that you understand the deployment package. That is very important. And the handler, the name of the handler. If you mess up with the name of the handler, your program will not run.